Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sporting Max on 116 SEN, where today I'm joined by the co-owner of the Illawarra Hawks in the NBL, Dorry Kordahi. Dorry, it's an absolute honour to have you on the show. How you going?
Good, Max. How you going? Good to catch up again.
Great, thanks. Great to have you on the podcast again. Now, I'd like to start off with sort of covering a bit of ground. And for those who don't know, how did you become the owner of the Illawarra Hawks?
Look, basketball's been my passion. It's been something I've done all my life. I've been around basketball for the last 35 years myself. So, I've been fortunate enough that I've succeeded in business, in the business world, and the opportunity came up with the Hawks, acquiring it with my co-owners as well, and just took that next step back into the realm of sport, in the realm of basketball, excited to be here and excited to sort of change the narrative of what the Illawarra Hawks are about. And it's a journey that I've started since I was 11 years old. So, and it's a journey that's still going as of today.
Now I want to talk about the state of basketball in Australia. I mean, it's thrived under the ownership of Larry Kesselman in head office and the leadership of Jeremy LaLiga. Where do you see Australian basketball and I guess sort of the NBL going in the next few years?
Well, definitely. The talent has definitely improved over the last 5 to 10 years. We've always said that we're a top 3 league in the world, and I think we can truly say that now. You can see players transitioning from the NBL up to the NBA and making big impacts. People like your Josh Giddey, people like your Melo Balls. Keith Sykes has gone there now, and even quoting and saying that it's easier to score in the NBA than it is in the NBL. So I think from a product on the court, I think we've had some massive inroads over the last 5 to 6 years, 10 years. But I think off the court, the product is really improving a lot as well, and it comes down from leadership, not only in an NBL perspective, but also at clubland. And I think it's important, as much as the NBL grows, the narrative of the league and grows the brand of the NBL, it takes individual club owners and club organisations to follow on the same journey, because every club's got a responsibility to play to increase the awareness, the brand, the marketing and the profile of each organisation. So I think collaboratively as a league, on and off the court, has taken massive leaps forward, and that comes down to having good leadership across the board, and everyone's sort of seeing the same direction, seeing where this can go.
So what's your relationship like with the head office?
Well, it looks great. I was fortunate enough to serve time on the board for the NBL. So I worked closely with Jeremy and Larry over years. I've formed a very good relationship with Larry as well. For us, it's all about working together. It's important, and for us to grow this sport, everyone needs to be on the same page. So my relationship with the league has been fantastic. Something that I've always been very supportive of what they've done.
You mentioned LaMelo Ball just before. Now, he's one of the best basketballers in the world now. Has there been any, I guess, legacy created at Illawarra by LaMelo?
Look, he definitely left his mark not only in Illawarra but within the NBL, and I think it's a testament to what he's done while he played in for a very short period of time. So look, I think his legacy, he's definitely lifted up the brand of the Illawarra name, not just within Australia but globally. So going around and saying that I'm a co-owner of the Hawks, first thing comes out of their mouth is Melo Ball. So he's definitely I guess increased the brand awareness of what this club stands for, and he did fantastic on the court while I was here as well.
Now you guys bring back, fortunately enough, Justinian Jessup at the moment as a next star. Now Justinian was drafted by the Golden State Warriors at pick 51 and has come back to Illawarra. I mean, can you take me through this? Do you plan for this prior to the season? Like NBL 21 when you're first getting him, or how did it all happen?
I'll give a lot of credit to Brian Colangelo for spotting him out through the college program, the system as well. So we're very strong on his ability to score and shoot as well from a very high percentage. So it was something that that we saw, that the NBL saw. We were fortunate enough to grab him as our next star player, which last year served us very well as a club, which was fantastic. And he was very close to being called up last year, to the Warriors roster. 3/4 through within our season as well. So, he's definitely a class player, and this year for us, he's definitely has improved and has matured as a player, which is fantastic, and something that you want to see with your players, that that year on year they grow and improve, not only on the court but off the court, and maturely around being a professional athlete. And we're seeing a lot more of him this year, not just being a scorer and being a shooter, but also getting on the defensive end and moving off the ball. I think that's important for his game to take that next step and to get into the NBA. He's got to be able to do more than just score and shoot, and I think he's shown that this season, which is fantastic.
So, what impact has the implemented Next Stars program had, not only on the NBL but you guys and as a club and as an organisation?
Look, having a next star, and if you can get a good next star, it definitely gives you a lot more depth within your roster. And we saw that last year, having Jessup, considering he's a next star, he could have been an import as well. So it definitely gives you another sense of depth, and having the right next star player within your program gives you another dimension and another. Gives you more ability within your player roster to be able to sort of rotate a bit more deeper within your rotation. So I think for us, Justin has been a great fit. I know Mello was the next star for the Hawks the year before, but I think the team we've put together this year and last year has been a lot more rounded. So having someone like a Jessup fit into that team worked really well for us as a club, and it got us to a place, one win out of the grand final last year, and there's a lot of expectation on this club this year and where we should be going. So I don't think we're going to sneak up on many teams this year. So, and same as Jessup, knowing he's been around last year, people know what he can do on the court. So there'll be no hidden surprises with what we do this year.
Now, Dorry, I've had the opportunity to observe you courtside of an Illawarra home game this season. Now, you appear to be sort of a hands-on owner, and through the media, quite an active owner. Can you tell us about what you do on a daily basis around the club?
Yeah, look, it's any investment that I've looked at, I've always tried to be hands-on with it. And I think a club like this, you need to be hands-on. I think it's important that you show face, especially with a town like Illawarra. They've had a lot of owners in the past that haven't sort of been engaged with the community. And I think it's important that if you are going to succeed in a town like this, which is very hard and rugged, in a sense that they want to see a leader that's going to go there and get his hands dirty, connect with the community, connect with the corporates, connect with the fans, and it's something that I've always done with all my companies, actually be hands on. And for me, if you're going to push your staff, to succeed, you need to be by their side. So I've always loved being hands-on, and I think with sports is very important. Things aren't going to move by themselves, and I think from my end, I enjoy doing what I do, and for me, it's not work. So, a day-to-day for me will be working with my commercial team, and from the commercial team, make sure operations is running right, ticketing. It's just running across, literally the whole business, and making sure that every part is ticking along, and if they need help, you're there to help out. And I think, it's important. Great leadership starts from the top, and something that I've always wanted to instill within myself, and hopefully it rubs down to our staff and our corporates and our fans alike.
Now, on game day, you sort of work with sponsors and getting in close, I guess, with the bench. What's a game day, not just a home game, but an away game like for you?
Well, look, being away, I'm probably a little bit more closer with the team, because I'll travel with the players and have a chat with Brian Goorjian, in the locker room pre-game or post-game, and just sort of be around. It's just being around the team and showing your face and giving them a vote of confidence. But look, it's definitely a lot easier being on the road, because there's no commercial obligations, and going out and saying hi to a lot of people. It's more about being around the team and being around the change rooms, but also always love going on the road as well, because I can always catch up with fellow CEOs or owners or operations people that I've known, because I've been around the league long enough that I know a fair few people in different teams. But it's always good to sort of go there from a social perspective and have a bit of a chat and see how things are going from a commercial or a business perspective on their end as well, which I think is always good.
What's the home game though like for you? I mean, do you go around with sponsors, etc.? And there's been a new at the Win Entertainment Centre 6-man zone for this season.
Yeah, look, for myself, pre-game corporate hospitality is probably an important part for this club. It's sort of the center stone for our corporate members, a place where they can all collaborate, talk, and communicate, and just have a chat and build relationships. I think building relationships is very important, and that just comes down to having simple chats. The 6-man zone, something that we launched, something that we wanted to roll out this year and dedicate a section to the 6-man area, and SST. IIS Logistics, was our partner with this. So they've done a fantastic job in supporting this section of our stadium, giving people t-shirts to wear. And what we try to do with that 6-man zone is create sort of a 14 team rotating team. Every week we'll rotate an organisation through that section, and the loudest team or the loudest group, will win the 6-man award at the end of the season and get the team to go down there with a dedicated trophy and so forth. So it's trying to create different platforms and different assets, within the club that we can sort of engage in, not only the community but also with fans, and give them a different experience what they've normally had.
So can you tell me a bit about the rivalry between the Illawarra Hawks and the Sydney Kings?
Look, that rivalry's been there for a while. I think it's sort of grown over the last few weeks, with a few comments that was made by the owner of the Kings a month ago. But look, it's a rivalry. It's been there for a while. I think the rivalry's really now taken another step forward, because I think from our end right now, the Hawks have relevance in the league, and I think for a while the Hawks haven't had a lot of relevance in the league due to the team they've put on the court. I think now the last couple of years, taken over the ownership of the Hawks with my partners, bringing Brian Goorjian back was a massive thing for us, and something for me personally. Wanted to bring Brian back all together at the Kings in the past. So there's definitely a lot more depth and spice with us wanting to win and prove a point that the Hawks and the Illawarra region isn't the second fiddle in New South Wales, and that we are we are here now. We want to be the main team in New South Wales. And I look at this rivalry like the Lakers and the Clippers in LA. The Lakers have always been a glamour club for so many years, and then when the new ownership came into the Clippers and brought in your Doc Rivers, and started signing some really good quality players at the Clippers. The Clippers weren't that second fiddle team anymore. They're rivaling the Lakers as a professional organisation, as a respected club.
Yeah. So what's that like when you're sitting there courtside at one of those Sydney Kings Illawarra games, and something like we've seen a breakout in the past few games, or I think it was the last 2 games between you guys, comes about?
Well, it's always rewarding to get a win.
Yeah.
especially against the Kings. So from our end, it's always look, any win's a good win. But if you speak to a lot of the fans around the Illawarra region, for them, beating the Kings is
best thing of the season.
Is one of the highlights of the season for them. So that's probably their first rivalry, is beating the Kings first and foremost as a Hawks fan. But look, it's a long season. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. The Kings have won a lot of championships on with Goorjian as well, and they've been they've had a very good professional program for a number of years as well. So from our end is winning is always a pleasure, and winning at Kudos is always great as well. And I think that the players have got that extra motivation to win for this town and region.
You mentioned Brian Goorjian. What's Brian like behind the scenes? I mean, I've heard the stories from Andrew Parkinson and all the old Southeast Melbourne Magic guys of how supportive he is and how they thrive, I guess, under his leadership. From your perspective, what makes Brian so great?
Oh, look, I've known Brian, since I was 32. So, when I had the Kings, he was my coach at the Kings. And look, he's a great guy. He's a great motivator. He's a great leader. And someone that can actually understand players. And that's something that Brian's been great. When he was a player, transitioning to a coach takes a lot of talent. And, obviously working with Lindsay Gaze.
Yeah.
He's definitely learned a lot from that perspective. But, he's a guy that thinks, eats, breathes basketball 24/7. He doesn't switch off. Dedicated beyond belief to the sport. Very switched on.
Yeah.
Analytical. Watches a lot of tape. But look, he's a great motivator, and he's very hard in terms of knowing what he wants and what he needs as a coach. But he's always managed to get the best out of players, and I think it comes down to the understanding players and working with players is important, and something that he's done very well. And it's a testament to his career. He's been in 20 final appearances throughout his entire career, so he's done a fantastic job there.
So how do you guys, I guess from an ownership perspective and an off the court perspective, how do you guys make money and I guess revenue as a club?
Well, mate, we don't make money. that's a challenge for a lot of clubs. I don't think many clubs do make money, but for us, it's about trying to build this club to be sustainable, and I think it's important. Driving the narrative and the professionalism around this club is paramount. But for us, it's trying to increase the commercial sales and tickets. So looking at every club struggles, to break even. For us, it's trying to get to a point where we can be sustainable, and show this community that this club is their club. We are the only professional sporting club in the region as well. So I'm pushing very hard for the community to get behind this club and actually not only sponsor, but buy tickets and put bums on seats, because without bums on seats, without commercial partners, it makes that lot harder as well. So and that's why I've been working pretty hard in this business, because you need to work hard in your business regardless of where it is. So but look, there's definitely trying to create new silos and new revenue streams, like the 6-man zone that we've done with ISS Logistics. But finding new revenue streams and new corporates and new commercial assets that we can really market and promote.
So how do you engage sponsors with the club and try and get them on board? And like you mentioned before in the show, try and raise awareness of the club around the region.
Look, it's just about meeting people. You share your journey. Share your story. Tell them where you want to take this club, and just it's about connecting with people. It's honestly, it's not hard. It's about building pure, proper relationships with people, and when you do that, people will buy into your vision. And for us, all I can do, as a co-owner and as a president, is to share my journey, share my experience, and share where we want to take this club. And if they buy into it and they believe in it, they'll invest. And you need to show them a reason why they need to invest into your club, and build a game day experience and an ecosystem where they're going to be sort of engaged and be positive about what you're doing. And I think we've had some massive inroads. We've got some great national sponsors on board out of relationships and out of them seeing the direction we're going as well, which is very important.
One of the greatest decisions for an NBL club, or a matter of fact, any sports team each year, is their imports. How do you go about this, and are you involved in the process of selecting or choosing or picking an import?
Look, that's a very tricky one, because there are a lot of imports out there. Xavier Rathan Mayes, I had a bit of a say in that. But normally, we've got Brian Colangelo, that's very connected, obviously, within the NBA and with, amongst imports, and he's got a very good eye for that as well. And also Brian Goorjian and Jacob Jacomas, that Brian's been around for a long time. We've got a lot of agents on our books, which, like a lot of other NBL teams, will have the same agents. But it's about picking an import that actually can work within your system. And I think that's important as well. It's not about just getting the greatest import you can get, but that can't also work within your team. So it's finding the right balance of what's going to fit right with your team. If you look at someone like a Tyler Harvey, we've had now for 3 years. We
Yeah.
need a point guard that can actually work with him and work beside him, that can also distribute. So it's a matter of getting, 3 imports that are going to actually work together, and that's very important. Perth have done it very well. Melbourne United have done it very well over the years, and you can see it's evident, with their successes on the court. It's about building a balanced team, and that's very important. And at times, the imports might not have to be the role players and the star players of your team. You look at your Gouldens and your Deladovas, and and your Lansdale, Jock, and those sort of guys. They're built around the core Australian team, and yet you imports that work with them. So I don't think it's necessary to have I don't think it starts and finishes with the imports. I think it's about having a balanced roster and a balanced team that's going to get you a title.
I noticed when I did go to that Illawarra game at Win Entertainment Centre that you guys sort of played against Melbourne United, a sort of offensive 3-2 style. So 3 sort of on the wings at the perimeter and 1 at the top, and then you sort of had your big guys like your Sam Frolling or Antonius Cleveland on the inside, which, like you mentioned before, allows a sort of cut through space for someone like a Xavier Rathan Mayes, to come in and take the open lane. How does Goorjian draw up these kinds of plays and make sure his guys execute it properly? I mean, everyone hears of how intense he is at training with the Kings, with the Magic, with the South Dragons. What's he like at training, and how does he get his guys to execute his plays perfectly?
Well, look, I'll definitely say he's definitely tamed down a lot with age.
Yeah.
Compared to his younger years, I know he was very vocal at trainings. He's definitely mellowed down, and I think he's adapted with time. And I think it's important as a coach to transition through many different generations. You've got to adapt with the game. And I think he's actually, last year was a very big learning curve for him. Is adapting to the way the game's being officiated now, being out of the league for 12 years, being in China, understanding that there's a process with that. But look, every game we play, there's a different game plan. If you look at Perth last night, it was a different game plan to the nights before. So someone like Brian, as I said earlier on, he watches a lot of tape and cuts up a lot of tape, and for him, it's just seeing what's going to work best, and it's all about matchups, and which matchups are going to work best with different players. And you'll see at times our bigs will be on the bench a lot longer than we might go small ball, and that makes a difference. And and I think at one stage we had I can't remember the game now, but we went with a pretty small lineup for the last quarter. We didn't sub the last quarter, and I'm just gone blank which team we played on that, and we ended up winning the game. So I should know which team we played, but but Gorge is still trying to find out the rotations, and I think last night against Perth, we had a team out there that hadn't played together as well. So Brian's sort of still trying to work out what is the best rotation, what we do, what's the best sequence of players, and at what time to put them in. So look, game plans can be drawn up and be put through the paces at training, but when it comes to game day, you just don't know what you get on the court. At times, shots won't go down, shots will go down. So you have to be ready to adapt, because nothing ever goes to plan 100%. And great teams that win are the ones that can see that, adapt pretty quickly, and actually, change their tactic during the game.
So what was you mentioned Xavier Rathan Mayes before, and how you were sort of involved a bit in the process of getting him to the Illawarra Hawks. What sort of got your interest at first with Xavier?
Just watching tape, just seeing what he does with the ball, just his ball handling skills, I thought was great. Just watching tape, being able to penetrate to the basket, but also just watching tape him off the court in interviews, and just seeing his personality. I think that was important. So it's not only you look for players on the court, but you also look at players, how are they off the court from a personality perspective as well. So I just had that vibe, in relation to personality was very important for us, and that I sort of saw within the interviews that he had, but also just, he had a very different style of play and swag, and that street ball, sort of very good ball handling skills. And we've seen this year, when he goes to the basket, it's very hard to stop.
Yeah.
And he's got a pretty quick first step as well. And, it was an ACC all defensive first team as well. So, on his resume, you can see that he can defend the ball as well. So, look, I believe he's been a good addition this year, and I think he's going to still find his feet. And I'll be surprised if he doesn't get that Sixth Man of the Year award this year at the end of the season.
So now, how did you manage to secure one of the greatest coaches in basketball history in Australia, Brian Goorjian, to come to Illawarra? How did that come about?
Mate, it's just straight down a friendship. When I was at the Kings and I owned the Kings and Goorjian was our coach, I just built a very strong relationship with him through that period. It was probably one of the hardest periods of the Kings' history. But I was fortunate enough that, we just got on well. We just connected as friends, and I was with him throughout that whole period, and we actually built a very strong, close bond. When we had our last game at the Entertainment Centre, when we lost Game 5 versus the Melbourne Tigers, I walked down and Gorge will share this memory, and he shared it many times in the media, is that, I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, if I ever own a club again, I want you to coach with me. And we made that pact, probably 13, 14 years ago now. And every time I went to China, he coached in China for a number of years, and I have an office in China. And every time I went to China, we always caught up. And every time we came back to Australia, we always had dinner with himself and Amanda. So we've always kept a very close bond, and we've always joked about 12, 13 years about doing it together again. So when the time came that this opportunity came forward, I just said to him, mate, you're doing it with me. There is no no with this. So, and I give him credit that he stuck to his promise, and here we are. It was probably the greatest signing, one of the greatest signings in the Hawks history, as well as the NBL. I know many clubs tried to bring Brian back over that 12-year tenure, from the Kings to Melbourne United, and I'm sure there's been a lot of other clubs that tried to bring him back. Yeah. But coming back on friendship and trust, and knowing that we can reform this partnership again, I'm very proud that he stuck by his word. I'm very proud that I was able to bring him back, because it was one of the biggest signings last year in the NBL, and I was very proud to be at that conference and that press conference with him at the Hawks at our first conference together. Me being 13 years older, and to be able to do something so unique for the league, and to be part of history, which for me was very self-satisfying. And then to see him go out and actually coach the Boomers on the back of what we did at Illawarra was another highlight in my career, is him being selected and being on that press conference table with himself, being announced as the Boomers coach. I think that's definitely two surreal moments in my basketball career, being a part of history in those areas, which I'm very proud of.
When you're on that press conference table and, you're looking at the media, whether it's in person or over Zoom due to COVID, what's that like? You're sitting next to Brian Goorjian, and he's just been announced as the Boomers coach,
I look, for me, it's just very proud of being a part of his career. Very proud that I can say he's a friend of mine. We're very close. There's a lot of respect amongst us, personally, as people, as human beings. And that makes working together that much more enjoyable. We have our disagreements, we have our arguments, we have our fights, our own views, but we leave the room hugging each other and saying, mate, we love you. And that's important. And that's what it's about. It's actually enjoying what you're doing. But being on that table with him, I think to me was, it's just, being with a friend and helping him achieve a milestone that he hasn't achieved before by winning that bronze medal. I feel a part of that as much as he does, and that's exciting. And to see your friend succeed and keep taking, improving those milestones in his career, and to say, I was a part of, his journey, a very small part of his journey. It's satisfying.
So how do you connect with players' agents, for example? Maybe Jessup Scout when he came over to Australia in NBL 21, or how do you go about connecting with players' agents when you've got them at the club and making sure not just the players supported, but the agent is supported too?
Mate, look, Max, it's all about making people feel important. When Michael Lee came out here from the Warriors last year, I think he spent 8 weeks with us. We built a very strong relationship. And I had a good chat with him last night after our game.
Yeah.
And relationships are important. And if you respect people and you respect what they do, and you give them the hospitality, friendships will last for a very long time. And I think as agents, the agent always wants what's best for the player, and obviously we always want what's best for the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just finding that fair medium where where you can see eye to eye. But look, it all comes down to respect. Giving people respect in what they do, and just treating people, nicely. Like, it's not hard. It's the same principle I've done across all my companies for the last 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to want to help you, and that's something that from my end is something that I've always just focused on as an individual. Is to respect people and just be very hospitable, because it goes a long way.
Yep. So what's it like to, I just had a mind blank, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, far out. No.
We can edit this part.
Yeah, we'll edit this part out. Oh, I hate it when that happens. And it takes a minute, and it's just like, you just got to try and get your mind running again.
That's right.
What was I going to say? Yeah, sorry. So how do you go about managing, your companies like DKM Blue alongside with Illawarra?
Definitely very hard. But look, I'm fortunate enough. I've got a good team at DKM Blue. But look, I just work 24/7. I'm like a gorge, off the court. I'll just be emailing all hours of the night. My staff will get emails at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So, do you ever sleep? But look, when you get things going and ticking cohesively together, I don't find it that hard. I've always been a hard worker. It's something I've always done all my life. So, I've got a couple other companies that I work across as well. But for me, look, if you enjoy what you do, it's not work. So I enjoy it, and I enjoy what I do. So it's manageable at the moment. But definitely the Hawks are taking up probably 90% of the lion's share of what I do at the moment.
So how did you get DKM Blue as sort of a jersey partner or sponsor of Illawarra?
Look, mate, it was a free asset at the moment, so I thought I'll put my logo there at the moment. Backfill. But look, not just that. My business, has been a very big part of our commercial alignment as well.
Yeah.
People like Pepper Money, Little Zach's, Rig, ISS Shipping. A lot of these clients have been clients of mine at DKM Blue.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough that a lot of my clients at DKM Blue believed in the vision and the direction I was taking with the Hawks, and they've come on and sponsored the club. So so if it wasn't for my company at DKM Blue and the networks that I had within my corporate and marketing space, then I wouldn't have picked up our major naming right partner. People like Pepper Money, which have been a massive part and a massive contribution to the direction this club is going financially, and then people like Rig, Little Zach's, and so on. So as much as my logo is on that chest, the DKM Blue business has helped this club immensely in the commercial space and driving commercial revenue as well along to this business.
So how do you how do I put this? Far out, I've done it again. Bugger it. Far out. I had the question it's sitting right there at the tip of your tongue.
That's right.
Cannot believe it. Honestly.
You'll get there.
I'll get it. It's coming.
DKM Blue brand.
DKM Blue, Illawarra. Ah, yes, got it. So from your owner's sort of perspective, how do you go about setting up Illawarra and striving and making those leaps towards a championship in the next few years?
Look, it's about building. Everyone talks about culture and building the right culture. It's easier said than done. For us, it's building the right team on the court, and I think we're on the right page and the right track to where we need to go. but also building off the court, the culture around the organisation, around around our commercial team, our operation team, and just making players feel comfortable, and making them feel important, and just giving them everything that everything they can to succeed. And look, and it starts from the top, and it starts from from how we project ourselves as owners of the club, all the way down to our team manager, all the way down to our volunteers. It's there's a lot of people that make a club successful, and it's not just the ownership or the players. It's the 27 volunteers that we've got out there that that are striving to make this club professional, and for them to be proud of. So I think having a winning culture starts from from the foundations, and something that we're focused on as a club is to build a culture where everyone can be happy and be around. If you're happy and you're around this club and you've got this excitement, it's going to rub off on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or rub off on the players, or rub off on the community, or rub off on the coaches, the staff, and then things will start succeeding and start growing from there. I've never seen a club that has a great team but has a bad organisation. Normally, everything's working well together. If you're going to have a sustainable championship winning team, and if you look at the Perth Wildcats and Melbourne United, they've had all cylinders firing at once, not just one department. I think every department has to fire as one. And something that I'm really focused on is getting the whole club and organisation firing as one, from all the way from our volunteers up to our ownership and everyone else in between.
So how do you brand the club, I guess, through the media, not only with interviews and things like that, but through your social media feed too?
What do you mean? How do I brand the club, or
how do you raise awareness of the club, and put it?
Well, look,
a good look to the club. Yeah, good name.
Well, look, for us, it's having a good social team. I think we've got a great social media team, from creative to video content. I think it's trying to capture the way you do things in a different lens, and I think that's important. And I've always stressed to my team is it's not always about catching basketball content.
Yeah.
When we promote this team, it's about catching behind the scenes or catching game day experience.
Yeah.
We are in the entertainment world. Sport is entertainment. Players are actors to a degree. They're performing their art on a center stage. It is theatre. It's live theatre. So everything that I've pushed with our media team and our marketing team is to really try to create the essence of not just what's on the court, but what's around the court.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing that quite well. And we are getting a sense of excitement from the community, saying, you know what, this isn't just the old Hawks of the past. This looks different, looks unique. Entertainment looks exciting. Home games look exciting. We want to see what the Hawks are doing now. And that's what, for us to create different views from a different lens, to create a bit of excitement, because having guys bouncing basketballs up and down the court and just showing that, we're not connecting with new customers.
Yeah.
So it's about changing the way you promote and the way you shoot content to engage in new people that might not love the sport, but haven't seen a game. But if you can get them to a game, they'll leave with a memorable experience and want to come back for more. And that's our goal as a club. How do we get new people coming into our doors to watch our live theatre, our live entertainment?
So how do you go about? I mean, a lot of clubs have number one ticket holders. How do you go about getting a number one ticket holder? And so again, that raises the awareness.
Well, look, we're very lucky. We've got Alex Volkanovski, the UFC world champion. We're lucky that he is from the region. He's from down in Illawarra, so that wasn't too hard to get because he loves the sport. He's been to our games, so someone like that has got a massive following. Who's a passionate basketball player or basketball fan advocate. We saw him play with a few of the players on the court with KO. But look, having played people like that around the club that have been successful and been winners within their own sport is fantastic as well. And having guys like that around the club also add another depth that you have a diverse group of fans and ambassadors that actually supporting your club.
So how does that help your winning culture sort of mentality?
It's just having winning people around your club, and that's just it's important just to have positive people.
Yeah.
Positive breeds positive, and and it's just energy. You want people that have got the passion, the love for the sport, and your club around the club, and that's what you want. And success breeds success, and you want people that are successful in their own right to be around the club, because that's going to rub off on people.
What are your expectations of the group or the whole club for the rest of NBL 22?
Look, everyone's predicting us, to be a title favourite. I think it's a lot of pressure on this club, 2 years in. But our expectations is to be in the playoffs, and that's we wouldn't expect anything less than that. I think we've put together a much better rounded team this year. I think we've got a lot more talent. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting the keys in this with this team and working out, the crux of it, and getting this team to gel together. I said at the first press conference, we want to be a title contender. We want to. Yeah. We don't want to make up numbers. We want to win a title. And I think this year we've got a team that could win a title, but it's a long road ahead. And there's a lot of learning curves that we need to go through. We've got to go through a lot of teething issues. We're going to lose games. We're going to win games. We had a loss last night against Perth and against Melbourne United. They're two of the best teams in the league right now. But these are good early losses that we're going to have. We're going to learn from those. And it's not how we start, it's where we finish. And once you get to the playoffs, then I think it's going to be anyone's race this year, and we're very confident. But we've still got a long way to go, and we need to find our feet.
How do you help negotiate when it's been a COVID-affected season like NBL 21 is NBL 22? When you've got you might have one opposition, and then you've got another opposition that has come in to replace that game, or your game's been postponed due to COVID and things like that. How do you adjust to those scenarios or situations?
Well, it's mainly for the coaches and the players. For us commercially, when we have to change dates at home, it's definitely challenging. It's a financial challenge for us when you've got to change that. But look, we're in a pandemic. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
Coaches that they know full well that teams can change at any given time throughout the season. So it's no surprise. This year's no surprise compared to last year. You just have to be ready, and that's just the way it is. And the teams that can adapt and be ready through these changes will win a title. There's no excuses to everyone's in the same boat, so no one's going to be disadvantaged more than the other. You've got right now Perth on the road, you've got New Zealand on the road, which they're going through a bit of a struggle in relation to being away from home. I think Perth, they're still winning because they're a world class organisation, but it's going to wear and tear when you're on the road for a long time. So we're fortunate that we're still able to be in Illawarra, but you just need to adapt, with the outcomes and what comes forward.
Thanks, Dorry, for coming on the show today and putting aside 50 or so of your minutes out of your schedule to come on and have a chat. It's been an honour to have you on.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, Max. Appreciate it.
If you want to get to an Illawarra game or an NBL game this season, buy some tickets through the NBL website or Illawarra website and get to see Tyler Harvey and Jessup and all those guys do their thing. Stay tuned.